Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another War Thunder video. Last week Gaijin did the answers with a development blog where they answered some of the community's questions, and one of these was, will we see swing wing aircraft in War Thunder soon? So the answer to this simply being yes, which makes me think that we're going to be seeing variable swing wing aircraft into War Thunder very soon, I think likely with the next update. So today we're going to be talking about some of these aircraft, what aircraft we're likely to see and how they're going to be implemented into War Thunder. Now, the most famous aircraft that springs to mind with variable swing wing aircraft is of course the F-111 Aardvark, which is a very famous aircraft, absolutely gorgeous looking plane, and it's what you can see here right now. This is made by Senrin. This is user made model. Absolutely, it's pretty cool, though it does have a few bugs with it. A link to that will actually be in the description below if you wanted to download it for yourself. But anyway, the F-111 first flew in 1970, so it will be pushing the boundaries somewhat if this aircraft did get added into the game. The early variants of it were purely a fighter interceptor, not really like a bomber variant. Not until the later variants, which we probably won't see to begin with. With this aircraft, the swing was actually auto-controlled by a central air data computer, which means that in terms of like War Thunder, it might actually be automatic compared to some of the other aircraft which are on this list, which were more manual. So with some aircraft, you might see it being automatically controlling the wing, and with other ones, you might be able to manually control it as well. In terms of the armament, which the Tomcat could carry, it's very dangerous, to be honest. It could carry Sparrows, it could carry AIM-9 Sidewinders, but the main interesting weapon that this aircraft could carry is the AIM-54 Phoenix, which could attack multiple targets at once with active radar systems. So if that got added to the game, it will be pretty interesting being able to take on multiple targets and fire at multiple targets at once. I think that probably won't come to the game initially. Apart from that, the other weapons I have are very comparable to the stuff we have already in terms of the Sparrows and the AIM-9s, although there are later variants of the missiles that we already have in game. So if they do get added in, they're probably going to be more capable than the ones we have already. I do think though that the F-111 might initially be too much of a stretch for the game though, so I don't think we're going to be seeing that initially when we see a swing wing aircraft into War Thunder. Now, I think the aircraft which we're very likely to see initially with a swing wing is the Su-17, which is basically a development from the Su-7, which we already have in game. It's basically an Su-7 with swing wings. This one's a fighter bomber and it can carry AA missiles like the R-60s, which obviously already in the game, and also could carry air-to-surface missiles like the KH-23s with the X-38 and the MiG-21 PFM have. So definitely comparable missile systems to the aircraft we already have in game. Pretty nice looking aircraft, I think, the Su-17, and I think this one's very likely to see first into game, because I think that probably what they'll do is they'll test the water with some of the aircraft and add in some of the early variants first, and then move on to some of the other aircraft which are way more capable. Another aircraft as well, which I thought might have come out to the game already, but when a later variants of the F4E etc. got added in, which is the MiG-23. Now the MiG-23 is a pretty nice looking aircraft as well. This one flew in 1967 first, so a little bit earlier than say like the F-14 etc. This as well could carry R-60s, R-23s, and this one had a manually controlled swing wing on say like the F-111 Tomcat. So with this one, I'm guessing that you could probably manually control it. If I remember off the top of my head, I had 3 settings for this, so you might be able to use it say like similar to how the flaps work, to be able to change what angle of it the wings will be. Pretty interesting aircraft. Could also have a limited air-to-ground roll as well, but I think that'll be very interesting aircraft to add in, and I think we're probably likely to see this as well as the Su-17 is the first swing wing aircraft into the game. Now the next aircraft I want to talk about is a personal favourite of mine, but it might be because I'm biased, and that's the Panavia Tornado. This flew a little bit later than some of the other ones, first flew in 1974, and there's 3 main variants of this, the Interceptor, the Ground Attack variant, and the Siet variant, and is used by UK, Italy, Germany, and Saudi Arabia. I think we're likely to see the GR1 variant of the Tornado first, so if you do see it at all, because that's the fighter bomber variant, and that was what introduced first. The F3, which was the interceptor variant, didn't come until much later in 1985, so I don't think we're going to see that initially, or not for some time in War Thunder. In terms of the weaponry that the Tornado can carry, at least on the GL1, it could carry things like Mavericks, paveways, 1,000 pound bombs, 2,000 pound paveways, cluster bombs, as well as tactical nukes as well, but I don't think we're going to be seeing those in War Thunder. In terms of like the missiles it could carry, could use Sidewinders and ASRAMs, and also the Skyflash missiles on the F3 variant of the Tornado. But like I said, I don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime soon. I do think the Tornado might be a stretch kind of with the F-14 as well. It does come in slightly later than some of the other aircraft on this list, especially, like I said, the F3 variant. So I think the Tornado might be the second gen of swing wing aircraft coming to the game, and I don't think we'll be seeing this initially when we see swing wing aircraft into War Thunder. Now, the last aircraft I want to talk about on this list, I think will probably get introduced at the same time as the Su-17 and the MiG-23, is the F-111 Aardvark, which is an absolutely amazing looking plane. Absolutely really cool looking aircraft. This was the first swing wing aircraft introduced, which first flew in 1964. So in terms of where this is going to fit, it should be introduced with the other aircraft. Like the Su-17 and the MiG-23, like I said. In terms of the ordnance on this, could carry a huge amount of weaponry and a wide variety. It could carry internal bombs, they could carry internal gun, it could carry nuclear bombs, it could carry AIM-54s later on in its career, it could carry AIM-9 Sidewinders, and it also could carry the Sparrows, although from what I've read, it didn't actually use those. In terms of the bomb ordnance on it, could go up to like 31,000 pounds, which would be absolutely extortionate. So I think that might be culled a little bit to bring it more into line and maybe see it with some varied ordnance, just to keep that bomb load down, because at that in ground forces battle would be absolutely ridiculous. Later on in its career, it could use laser guided bombs with the paveways, and also several were converted into electronic warfare aircraft. It brings up the question of whether we're going to be seeing maybe specialized aircraft and new mechanics coming with this year. Are we going to be seeing laser guided bombs? Are we going to use it like, say, ESCM, ECM, and like radar jamming and things like that, which would be very cool to get into the game? Will we be able to like electronic jam enemy's radar if they're starting to lock onto? Or other options as well as like chaff as well, which obviously we've got flares into the game now, but chaff would be quite nice to see into the game as well. And maybe things like anti-radiation missiles, something like HARMs, and would be really cool to see, to be able to take on those pesky SPAs at top tier. Although it basically comes into a point of which one can out-bias the other, I think, and which one is going to be the top dog, like a patch or two, until a new mechanic or new vehicle gets in, which just slightly trump the others. Let me know into the comments below with that one. In terms of how these aircraft are going to be likely used in the War Thunder, like I said, we're probably going to be seeing the Su-17, MiG-23, and maybe the F-111 first, and then later on the F-14 on the Tornado, I think a couple of patches down the line. The main differences, like with these aircraft compared to some of the aircraft that are already in game, is basically just the amount of weapons they can carry. The terms of like the munitions that these early swept wing aircraft have, they're pretty much the same as the old ones we already have in game. They carry AIM-9s, they carry the R-60s, so that regard is not going to be that much different. The main difference probably with these ones is going to be like stuff like acceleration and the amount of weaponry they're going to carry, especially with things like the F-111 Aardvark. If that gets added in, that's going to have so much ordnance to bring pain and suffering and just carpet bombing the hell out of other people in ground realistic battle. I think the Su-17 and the MiG-23, even though they're going to be slightly better than the MiG-21, won't be like hugely game breaking. If the F-14 and the Tornado get added, however, that will be a massive stack of it, because they have just way better missile systems and avionics systems compared to the jets we already have in game. when these aircraft eventually get added into the game, though, I do think there needs to be some big changes to how aerialistic battles work, especially in terms of like the maps, etc. Because right now, I basically term it as like realistic arcade. You take off within like 30 seconds, like a minute, you're over where the enemies are. There's a big massive clusterfuck, and at the end, one team wins, and that's basically that. It's mostly down to how the maps are designed, because the maps basically force you to fight over like quite a small area, because it's where all the bases are, it's where all the AI is, and all the ground targets are, which means it's just a massive clusterfuck in the middle. And I want to see something maybe like an enduring confrontation game mode for top tier jets, which would be absolutely fantastic if that got added in. You could add in systems like IFF, SEAD, bombers would have more useful place within the game. You'd be able to do bombing a lot more with maybe strategic targets, which came up ever so often, and you'd have to maybe use the radar a lot more to be able to identify enemy targets, and I think that would be really fun if that got added into the game. We might see it at some point, but I don't know, because right now, if these aircraft which have like faster speeds get added in with more capable missiles, we're eventually going to be getting to the point where you're going to be able to take off within like 20 seconds of taking off. You'll be able to lock off an enemy with the radar, and you'll be able to fire like a standoff missile against them, which really is just not going to be fun at all. So there has to be eventually some changes to how the maps and the game mode works at top tier realistic battle. But anyway, that's enough of me talking, I think, for now. Let me know in the comments below what aircraft you think would be really cool to see in terms of like swing wing aircraft into the game, and how you would like those implemented into War Thunder as well. Let me know into the comments below. But anyway, please like, comment, share, all that good stuff, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one sometime soon. Bye!